Hey everybody, it's about 20 to 1 a.m. Technically June 19th now. I was actually going to do this yesterday, but it was Father's Day and I didn't want to steal some of the thunder away from Father's Day, but it kind of ties in. The topic of mentors. I talk to bands and artists. One of the things I dig around when I do a bit of a history with them, figure out where they're coming from, where they're going. Um, what kind of successful people do they have in their circle? I'm a big believer you need to have some successful people in your circle, hopefully they're friends, so you can bounce some ideas off of them. And the idea of having mentors in your circle, they genuinely want to see you do well because they are friends, but also they see potential in what you're doing. So when people don't have someone in their circle that and you can look at it kind of black and white. People that are successful, are they doing what they want to do? Are they making some type of living from it? Do they have a fan base? Do they have people that are calling them for their services or abilities? So the idea of, if you don't have these people in your circle and you want to do something in anything across the board, especially in the entertainment business, you need to have some successful people in your circle, and even better if they're mentors. Um, what makes a good mentor? Well, as I said before, they genuinely want you to do well. They see the potential in your abilities. One of the things I think is a bad mentor, you run into people that pretty much just want to use you for cheap labor, especially coming out of school. You see a lot of students that are really stoked to get a job working for somebody, and then you dig a bit deeper into what they're doing, and you're like, wait a second, you're kind of just working for them for free, and they're not really teaching you. Your abilities are at a point where they can get something out of you. So I'm not saying that's in every case to not do that, because there's definitely positions where you do want to take that gig because you will have access to stuff, and even being a fly on the wall, overhearing some conversations or whatnot. It's always, well, not always, but it can definitely put you in a good position. Again, good mentors want to see you succeed. They want to see you survive, the potential in your abilities. Also, good mentors will, they'll pump your tires. They'll let people know that they think that you're good. They're placing their chips on you as a professional, to do something in the future. Also, kind of joke about it sometimes. The idea that, like, your kung fu will surpass theirs. The idea that at some point, your career will be going better than theirs, and they're already doing good. They're okay, but the idea that they saw potential in you early, and they love being able to boast a little bit that they saw the potential 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Um, one of the things too, with mentors, is the idea of the Jedi, where they want to see you stay on the light side. Where actually this kind of segues nicely. The idea where you'll find other people too when you're going through the business or going through whatever it is you do, where you do see younger people with abilities and talent and drive, dedication and passion, and you get excited about that too. There's something to be said about being taught, like being the student, but there's also something to be said about becoming the teacher. Um, I was Jeff Dalziel was one of my early mentors in production, and just the way that he kind of took me under his wing. And I don't think I really did much around his studio for maybe 6 months, maybe 9 months. But once he had me, doing some light editing and whatnot, it was seamless. Um, when you have to explain to people, he's also a great teacher, by the way. When you have to explain to people, especially new students, especially a lot of them are late teens, early 20s, where we know everything, um, having to explain what it is you're doing and why you're doing it, very, very good for your abilities. Because now you're really slowing down. So there's a lot of things you do in music where you don't really think about what you're doing, you just kind of do it. So you have to explain it to somebody. You're not telling them this is exactly how to do it, this is just how you do it. And you also figure out a lot of the things that you can't teach people in the arts. And I think the good ones that are coming up, they figure that stuff out too, and they kind of develop their own style. What they want to do, and what they think sounds good, different methods of working that they think is more efficient or just makes more sense to them. So you always try to hope the people that you're working with in teaching will stay on the light side of the force, so to speak. Where to find these mentors if you don't have any? If you do go to school, especially for music production, again, it's really expensive, and I remember having that talk with my parents about saying I don't need to go to school for what I'm doing, but it's a really good opportunity to be in a position where you could run into a lot of people, those collisions in life where your instructors, like I still remember one of my early instructors, I asked him, when do you think I should be looking for a co-op placement or internship? And he's like, do you have a job now? No. Okay, move all your courses to the early in the day and then go intern places at night. That way you'll be ahead of the game when you're done. Okay, that was easy enough. So a 10-minute conversation, or probably more like a 3-minute conversation, got me on track. If you're not going to school, social media. Again, we're a tweet, Facebook like, comment, Instagram comment. There's so many different ways to get in contact with people. When bands and artists say that they can't get people to return their emails, I'm thinking because you want to get emails from, no offense, important people about important things. You don't want to get cold emails from people. You know what people have, cold responses from? Comments, likes, shares, all that kind of stuff. It actually adds value to their posts. So give them something first. See that you're engaged with what they're doing. And then maybe reach out to them. Hey, I know you run a studio. Hey, I know you're working with so-and-so band. I would love to come in and just shadow for a day. You don't want to get in their way. But you want to get in a position where you can show them you have value. You're interested in what they're doing. So again, social media, great place to look for mentors. As far as mentors too, I mentioned a lot of the people that I learned from starting out were 10 years or older than me. And I think that's actually a really good gap because you've got a full decade experience. You learn a lot of things not just in music, but just in life the hard way. So when someone that's 10 years your senior can stop you for a second and say, I don't know if I would do that, or I'd think a bit more about what you're doing here or what your plan is. And when you're looking for people to teach or to mentor coming up, I think that's a good age gap as well, 10 to 15 years. Because again, if I was to be teaching somebody, it would be late teens, early 20s again, someone that's in that zone where they're still pretty new, but I kind of like that know-it-all chip on their shoulder, because you can settle people pretty quick when they see how things actually work in the world, especially if they're not paying their own bills and living at home, and life is great, because life can punch you in the mouth pretty quick. So anyways, it's good to maintain those mentorships. Last couple of things I'll say is there's a lot of people that will come in and out of your life, especially when you're working in the professional world. You'll create some great bonds with people. Again, like I maybe talk to like my early mentors maybe a couple times a year, but it's like summer camp whenever we get together, or the times you will get an email again from your friends. You'll get an email about something tech related or whatever, and it's like no time has passed at all. Like my childhood friends, when we do chat or we do get together, it's like no time has passed. So don't think that they're always going to be there. Be grateful for the time that they're giving you. Again, like they'll take you under their wing. They'll make sure that you're going to do well. Again, value people's time. And same thing when you're teaching somebody. You don't want someone that's going to show up late or not show up at all, or just lose interest. Be really, really mindful about who you give your time to, especially if you're teaching. Last thing I'll say on the mentorship, which actually, or this mentor's vlog, this all kind of stemmed from at the end of last week. I got some news that one of the very first people that I would consider a mentor, Mr. Don Skews, who ran a place called Ed's Music Workshop in Peterborough, which is a guitar shop, a repair shop. Long story short, I went in there after school one day. I wanted a guitar. It's written in the post I made about it, but I wanted to buy a guitar. Couldn't really afford one, so I would just sit in there and noodle around. I would kind of memorize some tab and bring that in the store with me. And I sat in that store for a long time. And it's a small shop. It's one room. And he never asked a lot of questions, never kicked me out. Eventually that turned into a co-op placement there, where I learned about guitar repair and maintenance and whatnot. And again, just very, very kind person, very gentle soul, super nice to the customers came in. Everyone loved him. I still remember him waking me up. I would start my co-op placement a little bit later. It started at 1. And I remember him calling me around 12:30, because I'd have a nap at home before going in, and saying, "You never guess who just came into the store." And I was in the store every day for months. Possibly even, I think it was close to a year and a half, I was probably in that store every day. And he's like, "Never guess who came in today." And so, of course, like, who? Half groggy. He said, "Neil Young just came in." I'm like, of course he just came in. Because, it's not like I wasn't there all the time. So, yeah, Don, he was fighting bone cancer for years, and it sounded like he took a bit of a turn around Christmas. So, again, if people in your life are sick, because it's been years, visit them when you can, because you don't know when they're going to be gone. But Don, love you. Again, big part of my life as far as just sending me on the right track, as well as far as music goes. Because again, those little things you can say to the younger generation, especially when you're 14, 15 years old, the things that adults can say that you just kind of discourage them. He's not one of them. He encouraged everyone to make music and do what they can to bring a little bit of joy to people's lives. So anyways, thanks again for watching. Thanks for all the shares. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, please share and like this. Thanks, guys.